Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as was the vast majority of crypto and finance. And guys, I have a lot to go over. Listen, one thing that we have been following is all the drama around ETHgate. This has been a long time coming. We recently addressed the bombs that were dropping all over Twitter the other, day. I think it was probably almost a week ago now. Well, ever since, things have gotten very, very interesting, to say the least. Let's start off with this tweet here from Nerd Nation Unbox. Johnny Deaton invites Ethereum founders Vitalik and also Joseph Lubin to Crypto Law livestream. I highly doubt that they are going to respond. Why? Well, because of all the information coming out right now. Let's go over to this one from Johnny Deaton. Monopolistic goals. How does one achieve such goals? It requires help from inside regulatory agencies such as the SEC Gov. It's called regulatory capture. Only if I could figure out whether there were folks high up in the chain of command at the SEC that could help facilitate such goals. Which, guess what? We have solved this. We know their war. But he's responding back to Steven Nereyov, right? Now, this is a little bit of a breakdown. I don't have the original post up here, as you guys do see. It's an unavailable post. I was trying to find it. I couldn't. But we do see, to see the conspiracy unfold is sad but amazing. Steven Nereyov, do you know what the paper in Lubin's back pocket he bragged about was all about? We do see, yes, he is smug about something I got for them that was for defense, not to bludgeon the crypto for their own monopolistic goals. It won't help them due to their own actions. It will be revealed in time. Crooked Joe. And this is what Johnny Deaton is responding back to. Now, of course, listen, Johnny Deaton knows a lot more about this now because he's actually going and working with Steven around ETHgate, which is going to be very interesting. But we do see Cowboy Crypto 313 responding back and saying, what is also really strange is Joe has a missing work history for almost a decade, completely scrubbed off the internet. And what do you see from the beginning? Ethereum, others distrusted Crooked Elbow Joe. He supposedly worked at Goldman. While not mentioning him in this part of Kemi Russo's excellent book, The Infinite Machine, we knew these suspicions others had. Now a lot of Crypto Judas's actions make sense. And here we have Vitalik happened to be staying and working from Steven's home in Long Island, as he often did when he stopped in New York, when these messages were sent. Hey V, did you see what's going on in the chat? Vitalik walked over and didn't answer when he saw the messages, but his face turned red and his usually peaceful eyes lit up with anger. Without saying anything, he got his laptop, stood up, went into another room, and started typing. No need for those accusations. He wrote, Ethereum is user agnostic. If banks want to use it, then that's great. So this is very, very interesting. We do see keep dropping bombs because, listen, what we are seeing is getting very, very interesting at this point. Now, outside of this, we see this. Again, another response to the original tweet that Steven sent, the response, right? Digital asset buy. Since Ethereum Joseph and Mike Novogratz are friends, do you have any information that would shed light on this clip, Steven? And this clip is about 2 minutes long, and this is talking about the Hinman speech. How they went around the SEC, how Mike Novogratz, predicted that the SEC will do regarding Ethereum. 9 days later, we get the free pass. I mean, this is very interesting. Check it out.
Okay, but Ethereum they haven't ruled on yet. I bet dimes to donuts. They will say Ethereum probably was a security, but it's not anymore.
Why would I want to get in front of the SEC or the DOJ right now?
It's a great question. Listen, I started by saying the first 3 years were 98% or 95% retail. Regulators don't come from retail. Their job is to protect retail, but regulators come from institutions, right? Jay Clayton worked at Sullivan & Cromwell. So they're talking to the guys they knew from the Goldman Sachs's, from the JP Morgan's, the mortgage desks. If they're regulating mortgages, they call their guy. And so they missed this completely because there was no one playing on it. And so all of a sudden it's late last year, and this goes from small market cap to all of a sudden $1 trillion worth of, market cap. And, Paris Hilton out there pitching coins, and everybody on the planet talking about it. the regulators got worried. I mean, it was interesting. CNBC, not to pick on CNBC, but I think I cancel them here. They literally had a show where they were one by one walking people through how to buy the Ripple, the XRP coin, literally when it was trading at $3.20, having moved from 20 cents 8 weeks earlier. From the day of that show, the thing plummeted. We were short. It plummeted all the way back to 50 cents.
That was peak nonsense?
Peak nonsense. But the regulators had to get involved. And so they are getting involved, and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. The first thing is, wait a minute, let's calm things down. Let's go after fraud. Let's go after market manipulation. So the first two things regulators are going for are fraud and market manipulation. And it's a good thing. The Department of Justice talked about market manipulation with these indexes inflating their volume numbers. It's all true. And so we're going to knock out some of the crap from the system. I actually think it's healthy.
And then we do see down here, never had an issue with Mike Novogratz personally, but makes you wonder why someone would react like this to my arrest on charges I proved were fabricated. Nobody who was laughing has said a word since I got my case dismissed. And here we have Mike Novogratz responding with a laughing face. You gotta love it, right? These are the types of people that will flip immediately. And by the way, we already know all of the mistakes that Mike has made in the past. They are very, very clear. They're very transparent. But one thing that's not transparent is the connections to the SEC, the higher ups, everything that has been happening around Ethereum and ETHgate. We even see him saying that he was shorting XRP at the time that CNBC was, talking about how to buy it. Very interesting. Now, outside of this, we also do see over here, did Vitalik Buterin really want to work for Ripple, Steven, or was he sent? No idea. He told me he wanted to implement smart contracts on Bitcoin, but the devs didn't want it. I spoke to him about Ripple, but that was because I had met with the Ripple folks and used them as an example of how a company should be operating in this space. Ripple has been following me for 10 years here on X from 2015, so I was at a conference where Chris Larson was there and somebody else from Ripple was there too. I can't remember. It's fuzzy in my head. They asked one of them about XRP and the other one punted to the other one, and he said, well, listen, all questions about XRP, please ask. I don't remember if it was Chris punting it to him or the other one punting, but the point was that they have one person in the organization, and he's the only person in that organization that's allowed to discuss it, and that was supposed to be the situation here. Very interesting. Now, a lot of people think that maybe it was Jed. We do see doubt it, as I know Jed. So outside of this, there wasn't really too much going on here, but a lot of people speculated that Vitalik was, going over to Ripple to learn the secrets around what they were doing. They speculated on that. We don't know how much information around that is true, but it definitely is an interesting insight that Steven gave us here. But also, over here we have, I would never harm myself. This is from Steven, by the way. But you see, just when I think I can't put eyeballs on his tweets anymore, he says this. This is crazy because a lot of people are questioning, like, what's going to happen here with Steven? Because he's really kind of letting everything out there, right? He's talking about all of this, everything that we have been addressing forever around ETHgate, Ethereum, the higher ups around Ethereum, the SEC. Here he is saying, and he has to say this as well because, listen, he's in like the danger zone. I would never harm myself. I'll be fine. But hypothetically speaking, if something happened to me, things would get exponentially worse for a lot of people. I made sure of that. I know what I'm up against. Do they? Very interesting statement here. And over here, we do see when I was growing up, the media would be beating down the doors of Steven Neryoff to get the scoop when they smelled a story like ETHgate. Now their media bosses tell them to stand down. You're not allowed to cover that story. How is this different than the Soviet Union or the CCP? And this is from Digital Asset Investor. But what's crazy about this, I don't think that this is getting enough publicity or spotlighted attention, especially from the mainstream media, because a lot of the people around the mainstream media are being told what to say, what to do. I think that they're trying to hide this. I think that they're trying to cover it up because the people involved in this, they're substantial people. Listen, they are higher up on the food chain. And we do see Steven down here saying, don't worry, they cannot stop the stampede of this story. The media darlings will feel what it's like to be on the other side. Just be patient. Massive statement from Steven. And over here, we have yet again another big statement from Steven. This is a father-son coordinated and scripted character assassination to make me feel, or make me their fall guy. Dmitry Buterin animated storytelling of not being concerned about the SEC Gov during our May 2018 meeting has been exposed by the Hinman emails as a lie. Or was it a diversion tactic? Vitalik Buterin falsely accused me of committing a huge amount of fraud, or was he just taking away attention from himself? And a court of law doesn't care about his reputation points for his noble friend or him. Convicted of helping North Korea evade sanctions, though he reverted to form and saw the error of his loyal ways eventually. Buterin unleashed a series of tweets to defend Griffith on Sunday, repelling reports that he distanced himself and subsequently threw his arrested friend under the bus. And this is because he had a little meeting here, and it was an interview, and he was talking a little bit about, a few things around Steven, around Ethereum, things like that. Definitely go and check out this interview if you guys do want to. It's about 5 minutes long. This is a clip that got posted by Digital Asset Investor around it. It's definitely an interesting interview. I mean, at the end of the day, when we really kind of look at what's happening around the space, I think that a lot of what we have been talking about, a lot of what we've speculated on in the past is really kind of coming to light now, and it's all true, right? Like the XRP community, the XRP army, those that were out there fighting, which again, Johnny Deent has been on this since day one. There's been a lot of great individuals from the space like Digital Asset Investor that have been putting a spotlight on ETHgate for a very long time. Well, guess what? Now we are seeing why this has been such a big talking subject, because what is involved here is wild. I mean, these are crazy, crazy things happening around the space that I think not enough people are really kind of focused on, because Ethereum for the longest time has been one of the biggest tokens in the space. It's been endorsed by all of the big incumbent banking giants like JP Morgan, for an example. And does anyone question why? While Ripple and XRP are being targeted, I mean, listen, out of how many tokens in the space, why was XRP the one targeted? Why was Ripple, the company, targeted as well? It makes you question, right? And also over here, we see Steven responding back to a 2022 video that Nerd Nation Unbox posted. And this is a 2-minute long clip. I'm going to play it. But we do see Ethereum co-founder on Ethereum Transparency. Interesting listen. Says the foundation is against releasing the list of names of early contributors who were allocated millions of Ether. And we do see down here from Steven, I'm one of the only people who has the list of ETH given out to the contributors. Exposing this list publicly could endanger many honest, well-intentioned people who worked on Ethereum. All documents are stored in many places with multiple lawyers, land others, so they're safe. And I won't ever be the bottleneck. I'm sorry, it's just written a little bit weird here, but nonetheless, we do see that these individuals and this list is protected. It's scattered around. It's safe. And it will never be bottlenecked. Now, this is the clip. This is the video. It's about 2 minutes and 23 seconds long. It's just audio, but listen closely to this.
Not to harp on this, but I kind of want to come back to this, the question that you didn't want to answer. You don't need to tell me an answer to it, but maybe you could explain some context to why it's a touchy question or why it's inappropriate. The question about whether Vitalik was wrong in deciding to allocate millions of Ether to early contributors. I mean, I literally have no idea why that's an unanswerable question. Just because I'm naive.
Simply because there is a thread on Reddit at the moment which discusses this, and I've made my position clear as to various things. But the problem is, like many things in this world, they're not necessarily directly related to this particular point, but more to other administrative matter which we're trying to address at the moment. And because we're trying to address them at the moment, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to discuss them. Now, when that's addressed, then I'll be more than happy to address it. Simple as that.
I mean, I kind of understand, but like at the same time, it seems sort of like a non-transparent defense. And I think of Ethereum as this like highly, almost religiously transparent platform. So could you give any more insight as to why you can't answer that?
Sure, because I personally believe that list should have been made public and transparent, and clearly I'm overruled in that in that topic as part of the organization.
Ah.
So I personally, I'm totally agreeing with you here. I personally think all the names should be public. I'm on that list, by the way, so I'm cool with that. By the way, none of the reason also why it's a bit of a non-issue is because none of this ether has been sort of taken out, if you will, from the Ethereum pre-sale, right? It's all been generated on top of, so nobody's got, their ether taken for someone else and whatever. This is not the case at all. It's more about, how do you address transparent governance? And as I said on that thread on Reddit, forgot my exact words, but I said it was one of those what's the word? That's not reference. It's, one of those topics that people will go back on and study as how good of a job we did in being transparent. And I think we can always do a better job in being transparent. I mean, I'm for complete 100% total open transparency of everything.
So there you guys have it. He didn't want to really disclose a lot of that information. And again, the individual asking is like, well, why are you guys so... there's a lot of problems with releasing these names, like what's going on here. And, even he's saying like, I want it to be transparent. I want this list to be, public, but, there's a lot of problems behind the scenes where, we're not able to do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's pretty wild. I wonder if we will see this list. Maybe we will at some point in time. Who knows? But a lot of people have speculated on who got allocated quite a bit of ether. A lot of people think that Mike Novogratz did. Again, I think that he very well could be one of them. We do see over here Jason Urban, co-head of Galaxy Digital, former Goldman Sachs guy. And this is where he's talking about buying Ethereum and, getting Ethereum as well. We also do see down here from Riz XRP, Joseph Lubin is, number 2 whale. Mike Novogratz is whale number 2. Joseph Lubin is number 3. Who's number 4? They tell on themselves. And these clips are quick. This one's about 53 seconds long. Listen closely.
And so, in my time at DRW, when Cumberland was starting, and I remember being at a dinner with a couple of the Cumberland guys, a handful of the lieutenants that were kind of, running different things, and across, this is tell you the year. Across the table, a guy just turns to the person next to him and says, "Hey, I just bought 200,000 ETH for a quarter." Now, you're at a dinner with traders and somebody says, "I bought 200,000 of anything." Whatever it is that you were just, whatever you were just talking about doesn't really matter anymore. It's like you bought 200,000, like it's like, the old E.F. Hutton commercial, when E.F. Hutton talks, everybody listens. When somebody throws out a 200,000, "I bought 200,000 of anything," you stop and listen. And they were explaining to me, the guy said, "I bought 200,000 ETH for a quarter." I go, "ETH?" He's like, "Ether." And like the gas? Like, what are you, a dentist? And so
there you guys have it. 200,000 Ethereum for 25 cents each. And everyone was like, whoa, what's going on here? This is an individual that's basically kind of telling on himself here. But down here, we have Mike Novogratz really kind of talking about, this one's 2 minutes and 12 seconds long. This is actually Vitalik talking about it a little bit. He, I think, told this individual, I don't know this individual's name, but I guess it's an interview where he basically said like, hey, Mike Novogratz, we gave him some ether. And here's a clip that's 19 seconds long of Mike talking about it, actually.
I had this aha moment. I was like, this is much bigger than just a financial trade. And so at that point, I bought a bunch of ether. It was trading at 96 cents. And I couldn't really find anyone to buy it, so I actually called Vitalik Buterin, the founder, and bought it from him. I'm not sure he actually likes me since I bought so much of his ether at 96 cents.
So there you guys have it, right? He went through a private sale and bought it off of Vitalik. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. Who are these people? Who are the names on this list? Well, I think that we already know a few, but I think that if this list does... I think that if this list does see the light of day, which, again, it's kind of crazy to see Steven responding back to this. I mean, this is well over a year later, right? This got posted on September 5th, 2022 by Nerd Nation Unbox. We see Steven responding back September this year. I mean, this is interesting. I wonder if we are going to see this list. There's a lot of information coming out now around ETHgate. What we are seeing right now is crazy, because we never thought We never thought that we would see this much information coming out about this. I do question if the mainstream media is going to put any attention on this. I highly doubt it. I don't think that they want to put any attention on this because there's far too many names tied to this on the higher up food chain. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, so notifications on because I'm free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.